What you're hearing is my dog Bingo playing with a bone. um, the light is so bright. I can't. Okay, I'm gonna do this like I did the last time. I'm going to just. I need to. One, two. I'll start on the minute. Okay. Now, from the House of Songo, this is Gaytopix, My Life. I'm your host, Kenny Cruz, the only host to bring you the latest headlines and breaking news in the LGBTQ community. However, this series, My Life, is based on true events, actual life experiences that I've encountered in my life. These are true stories. There's nothing fake or fabricated in what I'm saying. It needs to it needs to finally be told. My story, my confessions, my life. Some viewers may find what I'm saying disturbing, so viewer discretion advised. This is my story, my life, as a gay man. All rights reserved. A little over 3 weeks ago, I assumed that I was, I can't look at the light, but you need to see me. A little over 3 weeks ago, I thought I was having a stroke because the symptoms were very familiar with having a stroke. I was feeling body sweats, night sweats at night, and not in a good way. Like you wake up in the morning and your bed is soaking wet. It's not in a good way. um, Body aches, severe migraines, loss of vision, heart racing, things throbbing, things turning numb. It's been a very challenging 3 weeks for me because this has been the most pain that I've ever suffered and endured in my life. And I'm not talking about mental pain, as is this series, My Life. I'm talking about physical pain. And I was partially paralyzed in my right arm for a short period of time. I'm going to say at least a year. And it was not treated. My body eventually healed itself and I'm able to move my arm, but I lost severe gains and muscles, and there's severe atrophy in my arm. So I'm not able to do things as I once was, i.e., go to the gym, um, or able to even go grocery shopping. It's very difficult. But again, my body healed itself to the best that it could, so I'm able to move my arm, but I'm still not able to write, at least in long sentences and essays or chapters in my novel, but I'm able to do simple things with my writing. And I say simple because it is very limited. Please excuse me right now because the whole right side of my face is extremely numb, and it's like a jackhammer is going off every single part of my face. And I'm noticing because there's so much pain, my wrinkles are now starting to appear. And I have aged dramatically in the last few months than I have over the last few years. Yes, I am 50, but yes, I am 50 years old, but my progression of aging, was slow, and I commended my doctors for that, for keeping me youthful and beautiful. I remember once this guy told me, use your best asset, not meaning my ass itself, which I eventually did in the adult entertainment industry, but he said, use your best asset to your ability. What is it, since you don't know what it is that you want to do in life, what is it that you can use to your advantage? And I thought long and hard about that because everything that I seem to do, as you will hear in this series, My Life, was that every time that I tried to do what I wanted to do, I failed. And this talk show being one of them. But the point is that I thought long and hard about what he said, and I said, well, I am beautiful, so why not use that to my best of my abilities? But even that I couldn't do because I was not booked or auditioned or given the opportunity to show my beauty, to show my best attributes, and to show what I created. Because when I had my muscles in my body, it was what I created. The shape, size, everything was what I created. And I couldn't be any more proud of my accomplishments. But at the same token, it was not being reciprocated by society and people around me, and my peers, and it became essentially pointless. I remember telling a dog walker once when Bill Clinton was alive that it's I can't go to the gym anymore because who am I looking pretty for? Who am I looking pretty for? No one even says hello back to me when I say hello passing them on the street. No one helps me, with these medical issues, or no one even wants to take me out for a drink, or no one even wants to have sex with me. The last time that I had sex was in 2012. 2012. I don't know what it's like to get my dick sucked, or my someone kissing me, or it's all it just, even in my movies, when I was doing adult movies in the entertainment industry, I used to, prior to shooting the scenes, I would always ask the actor if they would kiss, and none of them ever wanted to kiss. And I felt that, like, wow, we're supposed to be passionate and you know engaged with each other, but yet a simple thing as a kiss, even if it was a tap or something on the cheek, I no one seemed to want to give it to me. And now that my eye is blind, and I'm blind in my eye, I should say, I I lost everything that I could possibly lose. What else is there to lose but my life? And I'm not afraid of dying, but it's slow and arduous and overwhelming. I just wish it would happen sooner rather than later, because every tear that falls is a sad reminder of how hard my life has been and continues to be. I don't know why things are like this, or people treat me in this demeanor, but it's been going on far too long, and I can't take it anymore. That's the whole purpose of this series, My Life, is so I can tell you my experiences and how people treat me and disrespect me and belittle me and berate me and beat me up, and it just it's a never ending story. And I, I'm not well enough to actually engage with the series. Moreover, I'm not well enough to perform my duties as a journalist. I need to actively research my stories and breaking news and report as a correspondent on the street at various locations throughout this great city of New York. But I can't do it. I can't. It's extremely difficult to read from a prompter, let alone sit in front of the light or even get out of bed at times. I don't know what's happening to me, and I fear it's coming, but it's taking too long, and I wish it would happen already. No one would miss me. No one would even know that I'm gone. People still think I'm dead from when I was an adult entertainer. But I don't think they care because they stopped following. It's another thing. I'm not on any social media platforms. I'm not on any dating sites. I'm not, you may find my profile there, but I haven't been logged in so many years. I don't find it helpful anymore because all it's done was just make things worse. I tried to express myself on Facebook and was permanently banned. I tried to promote my business and I was permanently banned from Facebook. I tried to engage with my followers and my fans on Snapchat and TikTok and Twitter, and they all just turned their backs on me and would say some awful things about me. So I'll give you a perfect example. His name is Mark K, but I've known him for quite a number of years socially online. Mark K Brickhouse, I'm assuming his last name is. I don't know. He's one of those punk rockers who's a little bit overweight and is like every other gay man obsessed with his youth and beauty. But when you're overweight, you don't have to worry about wrinkles. So I was kind of conflicted as to why he was doing Botox and all that other good stuff and fillers when he didn't really need it because he already had it. Whereas somebody like me, you see the 11 is starting to form now, but it's I need the fillers. But the more we communicated, the more I felt like he was a friend. You are not going to believe what he just did. Puppies. I have to go clean up a mess now. It's not that mess, but it's a he destroyed his toy. Ah, but we would engage and we got to the point of our friendship where he actually asked me to stay at my house when he came to New York to visit his family. So I felt really, like he was a friend, an authentic, true friend. And when when I did what I did was I wanted to, seeing that no one was going to hire me and everyone just put this wall up around me to prevent me from furthering my career in the entertainment business. I did what every entertainer and actor did, and I essentially killed off the character. And that's why I no longer need to go online because I'm not Poppy Songo anymore. I'm not him. And so I essentially killed him off. And when I did so, I attempted suicide. That's in a past episode of Gaytopix. Not Gaytopix My Life because I haven't gotten up to that point of my life yet. But there is a past episode, a Cliffhanger Friday episode to be exact. But there is an episode specifically dedicated to me committing suicide or attempting to commit suicide because of what these people were saying and doing to me on a daily basis. I was even receiving death threats. I'm not somebody threatening. I'm not somebody violent. I'm not somebody who deserves that kind of treatment. People always say, "Oh, because you're so sexy, you should have people lined up at the door." No, I think it's the complete opposite. Being sexy and being attractive and cute and beautiful was my downfall. And that's what hurt me because people were jealous and bitter and they didn't want to see me succeed and would do everything in their power to push me further and further down, i.e., what I had to do with Papi Songo. I realize that now, but I didn't realize that then. That's why I attempted suicide because I was so conflicted as to what was going on and why I was being mistreated, and violated. But now I can see it's like they just wanted to put me away in a closet and never see me again because I was essentially very attractive. And now that this has happened to me with my eye and my arm and my muscles and my weight gain and my age, I my only asset, which was my beauty, is gone. Who's gonna like me now? One Eye Jack? Who's gonna love me now? Oh, then they're gonna say, oh, you gotta love yourself. How can I love myself if I've never been loved? That's something very damning. It's profound in so many ways. Something that's never been loved, how can you love? It's not meant to be loved. And I guess I'm not meant to be liked or loved. Now, a dog, on the other hand, is meant to be loved because he gives you love back in return. I've never gotten any type of love in return. So, how can I love myself if I've never been loved? And there's that famous line with the Tin Man when he gets his heart in The Wizard of Oz. It's like, a heart is not judged by how much you love, but by how much you are loved by others. I'm not loved by others. So perhaps I'm the Tin Man and I don't have a heart, and that's not worthy of love. It's this is my life, and these are the things and scenarios that wrap around in my head because I can't keep my eyes open for long because the extreme burning and the tears and the stinging and the numbness. I so I'm forced into this darkness where my eyes are closed and I can hear the TV and I can hear what's going on as far as the war in the Ukraine, but it's all I can only visualize and create what I'm hearing in my head, so I can't visually see it. Now, people are probably going to be upset with what I'm about to say, but I'm a journalist. I have to be objective in my opinion and my views, which is what journalism is all about, but also being respectful. I heard that there was a convoy of Russian tanks invading Ukraine, and one man, a Ukrainian citizen, I think he was in his 50s, they said, was pushing and put himself in front of the tank, pushing the tank from furthering down the convoy and stopping it, essentially. Now, he eventually moved out the way because the convoy continued on into Lviv, if that's the city I am correct with, Kiev or Lviv, but it was one of those cities, and he was the convoy continued on into the city to try to invade the capital, but people were commending him for his act of courage and defiancy by standing in front of the tank. But if I had the opportunity to view the video, perhaps maybe I would have a different perspective. But when I listen to it, I immediately am struck by how real is that? Because if your main objective and goal as a armed service member, and you have a job to do, and it's to invade the capital, and you have commands and orders to do what you need to do to take over the capital, as they're saying, decapitate the capital of Ukraine, but and overthrow the government. But when you're in a tank, nothing can stop you, essentially, aside from a missile, or something huge like that, or a building collapsing on you, because they were putting bicycles and burning tires. Nothing can stop a tank because they just roll right over it. But what I found completely objective with that story was that, why didn't the tank just run him over? You're there to kill people, so why didn't you just run him over? And then I thought to myself about being in the armed services here in the United States. It was, I don't think they were Russian tanks. I think they were NATO allies there to support the Ukrainians and the Ukrainian people and the Ukrainian government, which is why the Russians are having such a hard time overthrowing the government at this present day. But to me, that the U.S. intelligence are not allowed to say what they're actually going to do, because if they did, then Russia would have the upper hand. But as an armed service member and served in infantry as sergeant in command of the 81st K9 Division, I I found it quite unique that that is a great objective per se, to increase the military presence there. So on all various television sites and news broadcasts throughout the world, NATO is standing back for now, but secretly they could literally put on a Ukrainian army uniform and pretend that they're Ukrainian, and go into the capital to protect the Ukrainian citizens, because there are citizens in the city, because there's a martial law from any adult 18 to 60. They have to stay and protect the sovereign country, which is Ukraine, including the president himself. Which I also might add this to that. Everyone was calling him Vladimir Levinsky, Volinsky, excuse me. But as you know, the war kept going and the days kept proceeding, his name changed to Vladimir. So I guess he didn't want to be compared to the Russian president, but I don't want to name his name either. But because his talk and dialect is very similar to the former one-term, twice impeached, disgraced president of the United States, calling the Ukrainians drug dealers and neo-Nazis. It's just, the language is so familiar, and it just boggles my mind how similar they are, and maybe that's why they were best friends. Or maybe that's why there was no Ukrainian war when he was 4 years, in his one term. But I just found that quite odd that, it's like, oh, maybe they are secretly coming in to protect the city. And it makes sense, because there has been a strong resistance from the Ukrainians. In fact, they're saying that the Russians are not as strong as they thought they were to invade the capital. Perhaps that's why they haven't invaded the capital thus far. I don't know. These are all in my head because, as I said, I'm sitting here listening, but I can't see. So I'm trying to put the picture together in my head, and I have a very vivid imagination, which is the purpose of this series, my life. Again, I'm your host, Kenny Cruz, and this is my life. These are real life stories, real life experiences, real life events. These are true stories based off of my life. There's nothing fake or fabricated about what I'm saying. Some viewers may find what I'm saying to be disturbing, so viewer discretion advised. All rights reserved. Remember, you're always in the mix with Gaytopix. Again, this is Gaytopix, my life. I wanted the cooler or fan or whatever is inside to cool the computer to stop so you can hear me a little bit more clearly. But my head is pounding and it just... I'm struck by the fact that I lost everything. What is there else to lose? I lost my apartment. I lost my job. I lost my family. I lost my friends. I lost my education. I lost my arm, my muscles, my beauty, my youth, my brain, my sight. What else is there to lose? My dog. I really wish Bill Clinton was still here because Bingo is very helpful and I'm very glad he's here, but I miss my dog because there's a different stage of life, whereas Bingo's still in training and Bill Clinton was already there and knew what to do and what not to do and knew me like the back of his paw, or the patch on his tail. Oh, I miss him so much. I've never been confident in the healthcare system. I never have been because they only seem to be looking out for themselves or working under the bureaucracy of whatever affiliate or hospital they're affiliated with, like NYU or Northwell or Lenox Hill or Mount Sinai, whatever hospital it is, they only seem to be doing things as they're told. My previous doctor, who resigned because of his age and retired, I should say, not resigned, he took care of me, and he took care of me for many years, for over 2 decades, and he was like a father to me, and I miss him too. And I never had to repeat myself. I never had to beg for anything. It just he knew what was going on and knew how to treat it appropriately. And didn't send me to this place and that place and that place and this place and that place. He actually had the people come to his office. And I missed that in because here it is that I'm going through one medical issue after the other, and my body is failing because I'm dying. But it's failing, and I'm being sent to this place and that place and this place and that place. Like, for instance, with my eye, they considered it to be an emergency. An emergency. I knew it was an emergency because I can no longer see. But if it was such an emergency, why wouldn't you call 911 yourself and have an ambulance pick me up at the doctor's office? Or two, why has it been 3 weeks and that still hasn't been treated yet? This is what I'm saying. It's not an emergency, or it's not being treated like it's an emergency. But when I'm seen by a doctor, I'm seen by a whole shitload of doctors who do absolutely nothing but fill their fucking quotas, like police. They only fill their goddamn quotas, are not actually there to help. So it's, why am I seeing you over and over and over again, and you're not prescribing anything or doing anything or giving me physical therapy or anything to help assist the pain and assist the injury, or to treat the injury, I should say. It's just, it boggles my mind. Like, I cannot trust the healthcare system. And then even when I was in therapy, I see what they're doing now as far as like doctor visits, because when I've gone to several doctors, all they do is putting my name and they see everything, even the notes that my personal primary care physician doctor had written about me. So they generalize what they see, and then they come up with their own conclusion without actually doing any assessments on their own, or tests or anything like that. And it's just, but they still want their paycheck. You know, I was offended when I went to get my eye done, because here it is. I was seen by like 7 or 8 doctors, and they were all performing the same tests, where I put my chin on this thing, and they're holding my eye open with a Q-tip, which they were not very hygienic about either, because they used the same Q-tip from the infected eye to the actual correct eye, or the normal eye. And what ended up happening was I ended up getting an infection in my left eye as well. And so you created more of a problem by not being hygienic as something as small as that. But my talking point is that I'm sitting in that thing, and they're putting all these lights and lasers and things in my eye, and it's making it inflamed more and hurt more, and tears are flowing down my eye. And the mask, those surgical masks, when it gets wet, the cotton forms into balls, and it gets very like sheep like, and you can spread it or whatever, and it gets caught in your eyelashes and stuff. And that's essentially what was happening to me as I'm being put into that thing, and the tears are flowing down my eye, and I'm like, okay, let me lower my mask. Mind you, the doctors that are seeing me are double masked and vaccinated. So you're fully protected from any variant that is out there. But yet, when I lower my mask, I was ordered to put it back on. And I'm like, you're trying to put numbing drops in my eye so you can look into my eye, because it's so painful for me to keep it open, that you're putting the drops onto the mask. So I need to lower the mask so you could put the drops correctly in my eye. And she belittled me and berated, put your mask on, we're in the middle of a pandemic. I'm like, what? If anyone should be concerned about catching a variant, it's me, because I'm not the one who's double masked. You know, I'm not the one who got my booster shots. So I was so offended by that. And it was so belittling. And then when she called me for a follow up, I'm assuming it was the same person, but I don't know, because there were so many of them. She called me for a follow up 2 days later. Part of the reason why I have not gone to the emergency room was because all somebody has to do is cough, and those particles get right into my eye, and then yes, I can end up catching the Omicron or any type of variant from, the COVID virus. So I was concerned about that, and as we all know, majority of the people in the emergency room are COVID-related patients. So she's talking, and it's through her double mask, and all these people are looking and doing all these things. I should be concerned about my health, because I'm not fully protected, and here it is, my eye is fully exposed. And she called on a Sunday, expecting me to arrive at the infirmary because it's the Manhattan Eye, Ear, and Throat Infirmary. So expecting me to show up there on a Sunday. Who books an appointment on a Sunday? So when she called me, I told her that I may be, going to the emergency room and may need assistance because I cannot see out of both my eyes. At that time, it had spread to my left eye and both my eyes were shut. And I could not see, and I could not see at all. And I was essentially feeling my way around my apartment just to use the bathroom. And she expected me to get on the train and go to the infirmary, and I'm like, what? Where is your care and empathy? Didn't you not sign a Hippocratic oath that you should not do any harm? And you're causing more harm by allowing me to go to all these different places, and my eye is fully exposed to any type of germs and variants out there, as I said. It boggled my mind, and I was like, I can't believe she has the audacity and the gall to perform in this demeanor. Where is her ethical behavior that she was taught? As a doctor, as a first responder, whatever the fuck you want to call them. But I did an episode of Gaytopix, and I specifically went into detail that saying that doctors are not the first responders. And that brings me to my next point is that I was mad at her for even suggesting that I get on the train blind. But I was also struck by the fact that she did not offer me any type of assistance or a nurse to come and pick me up or an assessor ride or something like that, an ambulance to pick me up to go to the appointment. I'm telling you, I cannot see and I'm blind, literally blind in both eyes. And you're not even offering any type of assistance, but you're mad at me for not showing up for an unscheduled appointment. It was not scheduled. I did not know I had an appointment on a Sunday. So you're calling me an hour before the actual appointed time. And just to follow up with me to make sure that I'm going to show up at this time when I was not told that I had an appointment. This is what I'm saying about the whole healthcare system. It's just all about making money. And, you know, even at one point, they were refusing people who had heart attacks or any other type of medical injuries and stopping all non emergency surgical procedures to deal with the COVID patients. But now that has me really wondering because how many people under the CDC watch or the government watch have died? Over 1 million people, probably more. And you're blaming Andrew Cuomo? Seriously. It's just, wow. And then speaking of Andrew Cuomo, it's like all these people who have, I'm very grateful at the information that I got from my unidentified source in the New York State Assembly. Because now that things are transpiring and all these alleged victims are retracting from the case or filing a claim against Andrew Cuomo, I'm believing what the source told me. I I went live on December 8th in reminiscence and in solidarity with John Lennon and his death, and I was standing outside the Dakota, and I told this story, and I told it as best as I could. I have not posted it because it is very political and very damning, but the more things that are happening, and the more things are being pushed aside, and I'm beginning to believe it because it makes sense. I just like the woman he kissed, Lindsay Boylan. I'm assuming is her name. I don't have a script, and I can't see, so please forgive me. But I think her name is Lindsay, and he kissed her. That's that famous picture where he kissed her on the face. The reason why he kissed her on the face is because he said that she was beautiful to date her daughter. As we all as we all know, his daughter is bisexual. So he kissed her and told her that she was beautiful enough to be his daughter-in-law. Italian. There's nothing wrong with that. Then there was the state trooper when he was touching her back. He was only touching her back to make sure that she was wearing a bulletproof vest. This is what I gathered from my source of information. He would not identify himself, but I am very grateful that he was able to speak on these terms because, as I said, as time was going on, they're actually making more sense. But this is not about Andrew Cuomo, although I miss him as governor, but this is not about him. This is about me. This is my life, and this is my story, my confessions. I'm going to redact what a few statements that I made in regard to my will. So I want to make sure that it's clear. So let's focus on that. I'm going to end this because I said what I had to say, and I hope Ukraine prevails. I'm with you. I'm also I it's hard and very difficult because I envisioned Gaytopix to be something so broad like CNN and something so accepted like CNN or ABC News or anything like that, or any talk show for that matter, because there is nothing like what I'm doing. But I have not had the opportunity or the chance to actually show you what I envisioned Gaytopix to be. But unfortunately, it's too late now, and I can't perform my duties as host and anchor if I can't read from the prompter or I can't research from the computer because the computer is so bright. So, and because I can't see. So I also don't have a producer telling me in my ear, things. So this is very difficult for me to do, and I have to do what's best for me and my health, and that is to end my show. And I thought I would last 13 seasons like Drag Race has, but I am in my third and final season, and I'm sorry it's come to this. I am.